everybody. Welcome to InPsightRadio. I am your host, Danielle Egnew, and you are a fly on the wall to everywhere. Happy spring, everybody. I am really excited to have a very special guest in the studio today. One of my very favorite people on the entire planet, and I admit that I'm a little biased. However, once you get to know her a little better, she just might be one of your very favorite people on the planet, too. My very special guest in the studio today is Intuitive Wellness Guide, Rebecca Douglas. And yeah, some of you might be going, aren't you married to a lady named Rebecca Douglas? And in fact, I am. And in fact, this is the same individual. So welcome, Rebecca.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here, too. And today, everybody, we're going to be talking about coming out of the closet with your gifts and abilities. Right. And and I told Rebecca, I'm like, I'm throwing you right in the hot seat. So I hope you're cool with that.
No, I'm hot.
She hot, this one. So one of the things that I wanted to bring Rebecca in to talk with, and I'll just preface this, Rebecca, I'll set this up, is that for the last 11 plus years, Rebecca has been a health and wellness and fitness professional in the gym industry. And so one of the things that comes with is, of course, the stereotyped idea of gym rats and gym bunnies and people who buy very expensive clothes to go to the gym. And I have to go to the gym to look great and I have to go to the gym to lose a bunch of weight. And Rebecca's approach to the gym kind of had very little to do with everything I just talked about. So for years, she just did her thing, and she's going to talk more about her journey here. Yet at the basis of why she did it, there was this component in her that was just burning as far as creating purpose. And so, Rebecca, this is why I have you in here today, because first and foremost, how did you feel as a person in the fitness and wellness industry? It was really the fitness industry.
Yeah.
How did you feel being in that industry with so much of that kind of driving force behind it? Was that what motivated you?
No. I was motivated by my own health struggles, and not really weight struggles, but health struggles. I was about to turn 40, and I was my body was literally breaking down as a consequence of years of yo-yo dieting. And I was about 38 years old, and I was in the middle of a 21-day raw food diet. And, and I was not overweight by any stretch of the imagination. I was just maybe a little soft, and I wasn't feeling confident in my body. And so I just had it in my self-image in my head that I have to diet, and I spent probably 20 years dieting to some degree or another. And so I was in the middle of this 21-day raw food diet as a last-ditch effort to lose a few pounds. And it was 90 degrees outside, and I was freezing. I could not get warm. And it dawned on me that something clicked in my head, and I realized that I was doing everything wrong. I didn't know what the right way was, but I was just doing everything wrong, because if this was a healthy way of eating, and if I was honoring my body with the right fuel and the right movement and everything, then I shouldn't be freezing when it's 90 degrees outside. Then why the hell
are you freezing when it's 90 degrees?
Right. And so I quit then. I just started eating just regular food, yet I was still very unhappy in my body. And then, I've had about 2 years worth of my body literally breaking down, skin issues. And
this was years ago.
This was years ago.
Okay.
This was 2000. I was 38, so
a while ago.
It was a minute ago. I'm 52 almost, so you do the math.
Oh, don't put me in that hot seat.
So, and I spent months and months going from doctor to doctor trying to figure out what was going on with me, because I literally felt like I was dying. And they and the doctors had no idea what was going on with me. They didn't find anything wrong. It was actually a nutritionist who who started talking to me and took me off of wheat and gluten and sugar and corn and I think some dairy as well. And within 2 weeks, I felt like a brand new person. And every physical ailment I had went away. And that gave me the energy to start moving again. And I found a trainer that actually helped me move in a way that felt powerful and empowering to me. And that set me off on this whole journey of, wow, women really need to know this stuff. It's not about, sticking on your cute workout outfit and fixing your hair and putting on your makeup and going to the gym and kind of scouting the guys while you fake.
Or whoever you're scouting.
Or whoever. Yeah. And fake pumping a few pieces of iron so you'll look good. God. I mean, I really never wanted to be part of that industry, but I recognized that nutrition and the right way of moving was very critical to women feeling empowered in their own skin.
So you basically got into this, gym mindset, the gym model.
Yeah, because that was really the only way I knew what I was, how to talk to women.
To get themselves empowered.
Exactly. And so I started with, a 30-minute workout and kind of started talking to them about just real whole food and kind of getting away from a dieting mindset and all of that.
And so that's just a little background on a very, very detailed human being. And I really don't want to linger on your fitness industry background, although I want everybody to know where you came from with it and why. Because this podcast is about coming out of the closet with your gifts and abilities. Now, I want you all listening out there, I want you to picture Rebecca going into this health and wellness, fitness gym industry. And it's very masculine at the time, and it's a lot of dudes and, lift and even the business model. She was part of a franchise at the time, and the franchise was very, go make $1 million. And she was just kind of like, wow, that's not at all why, what I was trying to do. And so you go into the gym environment and you're trying to really bring wellness and wholeness and a fullness, mind, body, spirit to these women and men and whoever else wants to participate, especially women. Yet underneath of all of this, underneath of this wall of certifications that you have, one of them being the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, you've got all of this knowledge on how to move the body and how to get in there and, move each muscle mechanically as if the thing were a machine. Yet underneath of it, what was driving a lot of that was something deeper than just a pant size, than just even empowering people. There was some coal in your stove that came from another place besides just the mechanics of the body. And that was an intuition about why underneath even the weight and this and that and the nutrition and blah, these women would come in so unhealthy. And Rebecca, if you could just tell everybody, because I could give you 555 psychic terms, which is not going to be your favorite as a Taurus. So I'm not going to do that because I got to live with her. So, so why don't you talk about the spiritual gift, the psychic gift that was underneath all of this availability to you to look at someone and distinguish within them what was wrong with them. What was going on underneath all of this?
Oh, wow. I've never really thought of it as a spiritual gift. It was just, I just recognized really early on that I had a gut feeling about people, about what was their hangups in their lives. And I quickly connected the dots with every individual, most individuals, not everybody, but a lot of individuals of why they were struggling. And when I created the space to sit and chat with them one-on-one, outside of the gym environment and more of a wellness coaching environment, I started recognizing that my gut instinct about what was going on behind the scenes with this person was actually the thing that was holding them back in their weight loss. And when I brought that to their attention, the waterworks start. And then the reputation of Rebecca makes you cry kind of thing started happening. But because I was touching on, I touched a nerve. They like, because their instincts then went, or their own knowingness understood what I was touching on. And so that hit a nerve, which told me that I was onto something, which helped me reinforce my own instincts. And so that just kind of created this loop of like, I see you, not like with my eyeballs, but I see you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And so you had this, and it technically is a spiritual gift. It's called the gift of empathy, where you can ping people and just figure out how they feel and what their deal is. And gang, as I say on this podcast frequently, humans are an empathic species. It's how we've developed to live in harmony with the earth and our surroundings. However, that being said, you can also have a special extra dose of a little psychic gift there called the gift of empathy. So Rebecca, when did you really recognize and I'm going to force you to strip away the humility over here, sister, because we're trying to help people come out of the psychic closet here. And there are gut hunches, and we all have those. And every human being has a gut hunch. It's part of being an empathic species. Everybody has a feeling going on. Yet your feelings were then again on steroids, so to speak, which I think is a funny analogy considering you were in the health industry. Okay.
No steroids involved.
Right. Only spiritual steroids. So how would you describe understanding that you knew something way deeper than, well, I just have a hunch because of this body language. This person is closing their arms in front of them, so they must be insecure. Gang, we're not talking about that right now. How did you know that you had something else going on in the intuitive realm? What was the first time where you were like, oh crap, why the hell do I know this?
When I was onto something, it just felt like a click. Like I got a sense of just knowingness. Like I know I'm right. Like when you know you're right about something, like you can't get away from that feeling. You just know. But there was a click. There was like everything just kind of clicked into place that kept going and kept going and kept going.
So you got onto a rabbit hole. You went down a rabbit hole that kept yielding results that were being confirmed.
Yes, exactly.
And that was just, could you feel it in your body? What was the initial prompt to you of, hey, this is what this person's actual issue is?
There was excitement. Like I felt like I had that deep purpose that I was looking for. I could feel it. Like I can feel it in my gut. I could feel it in I guess what you call your
solar plexus?
Yes. Yeah. Like it was there. Like there was an excitement there. Like I was on to, how do I describe it? Like this is the path. Like the light at the end of the path leading me down this path. That's what it felt like, as opposed to other paths that felt a little murky, a little dark, a little like, I don't know if I want to go down that path, but I'm going to go down this path where the light is shining.
So that was a direct knowingness. Was it something intellectualized, or could you feel it in your body, or both?
More just a feeling, more
in your body.
Yes. Yeah. In that solar plexus area, I guess.
So why this is important, and why thank you for coming in and doing this, because I know it's your absolute favorite thing to talk about your psychic abilities. I know you love it a ton. But
stop.
but it's important because Rebecca, for the very first time in her life, at 52 years old, is going to be owning publicly these gifts that you, I mean, and I'm not trying to be a turd here, but this is just the truth. You, like the rest of us, have tried to wrap these psychic or spiritual abilities in a different kind of tortilla to try to sell it to mainstream America.
Low carb tortilla. Thank you very much.
Yes, a corn tortilla. So, really though, and I'm not picking on you, hon. I'm just saying that in truth, this is what a lot of people do. And one of the things that's very important, gang, and the reason I'm bringing Rebecca on today is because it's important that you own your gifts and abilities. This is the time frame to own it. Okay, you're not going to help anybody. You're not going to help yourself. You're not going to help the world by claiming a false humility and trying to pretend, let's say, the clairvoyant gift you have, or the clairsentient gift, or the mediumship gift, or the grand empathy gift, which Rebecca has. If we're trying to pretend like, oh, well, I just kind of have hunches, don't everybody? God bless you out there if you're doing that, but stop it, because you're blocking your gifts that way. So Rebecca is going to come out of the psychic closet for the very first time at 52 years old at an upcoming health and wellness spirit fair we have. When is that even? Is it May 7th?
May 7th, 11 to 5. Yep.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
May 7th.
It's called the Spirit of All Mothers Fair.
Yes, for honoring Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. And that particular time frame is in 2022, in case you're listening to this later on in syndication or otherwise. Yet, this is a big deal for you because you've really never come out as an intuitive or an empath. And I know you're one. Gang, we have a 3 psychic household. My wife is extremely intuitive. There's me. And then our kid, who is a huge empath. And man, that girl can throw tarot like nobody's business.
God. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
I'm like, it's a picture of something. What are you getting off of that? Anyway, so the reason I'm putting Rebecca down here is, how hard is it for you to call yourself an empath?
An empath, absolutely, 100%. I've always known I'm an empath.
And so, yet you chose intuitive wellness guide rather than empathic wellness guide to call yourself.
Well, I think that came about as when we were, kind of brainstorming about me coming out of the spiritual closet and what's the best way to communicate what I actually do. And I think that's how that came about. So calling myself an intuitive is a little harder than empathic, but I think it's a better fit because it is an intuition backed by empathy, super empathic, empathy, whatever.
Super empath.
There we go. I need a t-shirt.
You do. Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's where that came about. I have struggled with kind of allowing myself to be called an intuitive. So. And
why? Why have you struggled with that?
I don't know. It's an ownership thing. That's your job, not mine.
Hey, man. But I mean, okay, so we're just going to peel the onion a little on this because people are listening, and it's hard, isn't it, gang? People out there listening, it's hard to own your gifts. And Rebecca's being really honest about, I don't know, ownership. What was hard about owning it, Rebecca?
Because I never thought of myself more as an intuitive, just empathic, I've always known I'm an empathic person from a very young age. So changing that word that just kind of.
Well, you could always call yourself. You could call yourself an empathic wellness guide.
Yeah, but I don't like the way that sounds.
This is what I'm saying, right? So you don't like the way it sounds because it doesn't fit,
right?
So. And I know I've got you in the hot seat, but you're doing great. So why, though? Why is it hard? I mean, I'm going to give you some examples. Is it because you're afraid people will think you're a quack? Is it because you think it'll take away from your years of actual training and experience? Is it because you're afraid you might misrepresent yourself and somebody might think you're trying to be Jesus and you're just working, through the empathic gifts of the bodies? I mean, let's really narrow this down and let's help people figure out their own blocks with this.
I think it's just more of a, I got over the fear of people thinking I'm going to be a quack. So whatever, those people are going to want to talk to me anyway.
Right.
But I think more than anything, I think it's just intuitive, just kind of, gosh, it indicates that I've got to be on. Like, what if my intuition doesn't work when I'm in front of somebody, Whereas empath, I'm always empathetic. I feel somebody the minute they walk in the door. That doesn't go away. But some of the other stuff that kind of clicks when I'm working with somebody, like all of a sudden, if someone's like, I'm going to go see the intuitive wellness guide, and my my stuff doesn't click in with this person because they've got blocks of
your
that,
psychic stuff?
whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Again, see, I don't even want to say that word.
See, I'm helping you along
Yeah,
here.
thanks. But like if it doesn't click in and I can't get through past somebody's roadblocks that they're putting up, because they've got their own stuff.
Oh, girl, I hear that.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
You know, like what if I can't tap into that? Then I've failed that person.
Well, now
because of their expectations, because of the word that we're using.
So then I go back around, and there's a point to this. I'm not just badgering my beloved here, you guys. There's a point to this. So why not just call yourself an empathic wellness guide?
Because I don't like that word. I don't like the way that sounds.
Okay. Why don't you like the way it sounds? Empathic wellness guide.
Because honestly, intuitive wellness guide sounds a lot more professional.
Okay. See, guys, this is what we're getting to today. It's hard.
I'm sucking it up.
Okay.
I'm having faith and I'm trusting the process.
Okay.
And you.
Well, okay. Because, gang, but this is important discussion. I'm not just picking on my wife here. This is an important discussion because in this industry, in the metaphysical industry, in the intuitive wellness industry, folks, we're doing our best to self-represent in the best way and the most authentic way. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so it's hard. Choosing titles for what we do is hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, people still call me psychic medium, which is like a mocha latte, whatever. However, I'm actually an energetic translator and a language translator. I happen to translate angels a whole lot. I a bunch, in fact. So when we talk about saying empathic wellness guide or intuitive wellness guide, so say I sit down in front of you, and this is one of the things coming out of the psychic closet. One of the biggest fears that people have is that they will misrepresent themselves. In other words, like you just said, what if I sit down and I'm a blocky person and you're like, I can't read you or whatever. I'm going to turn this into an exercise for you. So you've had clients in your gym that come in that are stone cold, do not see me, do not talk to me, do not deal with me. I'm going to come pump iron and then get pissed off at you because I didn't lose 50 pounds in 5 minutes. Okay.
Well, then I become the coming to Jesus girl.
Okay. So and then what is the coming to Jesus girl?
It becomes straight talk. Like no scenic route, no pussyfooting around the subject, just it's going to be more just, this is what you're doing, this is why it's not working, this is what you should be doing, this is you not doing what you need to be doing.
Now, how do you know how to say that to the blocked off person without them freaking out and quitting your gym?
Well, sometimes they have. Because they don't like the message.
But most of them haven't. So how do you know how to get that, go through the eye of the needle? How do you know how to do that in straight talk and not devastate somebody or send them out your door?
Because that's my only other option. If they're giving me the energetic barrier to allow me to kind of come in more of an empathetic or intuitive way.
So you use your intuitive skill to navigate the giant impervious wall.
Yes.
So there you go. So you've already proven to yourself that you know how to deal with somebody who blocks you straight out.
Fine, smarty pants.
So look at you go. You got 11 years of going right around those barriers because, and let's face it, gang, everybody gets a little itchy about everybody seeing the inside of ourselves. And you are a straight talker, Rebecca. And I think that what you've got in your favor, especially as somebody like letting people finally, people know you have a secret ability, a psychic ability, an empathic ability. People have talked about it. They're like, how do you know that about me? How do you know this? Yeah. So they know. And I feel, and for our listeners, I feel it's more authentic for those of us that are using these gifts with people to freaking let them know we're using these gifts with them and on them, quite frankly. I think I personally, and I'm not suggesting that you breached your integrity, Rebecca, yet I think if I'm somebody that's looking inside of people all the time, but I try to make it sound like I'm just a business strategist, To me, that is a violation of ethics. I need to be saying to people, you do recognize that I'm talking to the angel behind you who's giving me the entire download about your business, right? But if I own that, like, oh, I'm Danielle Egnew. I am so brilliant. I know everything about everything. I'm a super genius. Then I'm misrepresenting that process and how I get that information. So for me, and I know my listeners know that I went through a great big hard, oh my God, how do I come out as a rock star? This is hard, blah thing for a whole bunch of different reasons. But for you, you're going to go out into the world owning that you are a psychic person. And under the psychic umbrella, there's all kinds of intuitive applications of energetic breakdown. So how does that make you feel? I mean, for the first time at 52, going, yeah, actually I do have some secret Marvel superhero powers under my hood that I'm utilizing during our session. Does that feel like a lot of responsibility, or does it feel freeing?
It feels, kind of exciting, but scary. And, like I'm learning to have faith in the process, in the allowance of me doing this.
And that's a big thing. Having faith in the process is a big thing. So why don't you tell people what you're going to do on May 7th? Like, how are you going to format that? Okay. Sure. So I come to you and I'm at this psychic fair. Basically, these are big psychic fairs, our spirit fairs. And you're going to have my happy butt at the back reading for people on angels. And you got a tarot person, and my cousin Jeremy Kichardi is there, and he's going to be reading your past lives. And like this whole thing is happening on May 7th. And I see intuitive wellness guide. And I'm like, what? And I walk over to you and I say, wow, what do you do?
All right. So I'm going to sit with somebody. I am going to format it in a manner that will help me help them better in a very short amount of time. So I'm only doing 10-minute sessions with everybody. Wellness is a huge umbrella, huge. And there's no way, just from past experiences of over the last many, many years of talking with somebody, we can go down so many rabbit holes as far as what their food addictions are, what their emotional, like what their stress levels are, what their relationships are like, how they manage self-care, all of that, all of which feeds into their health and wellness. There's no way we can talk about all of that in 10 minutes. So I'm actually going to have everybody who wants to see me fill out a very short form that will help me hone in on some of the bigger issues that they are hoping to get a little clarity and guidance for. Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So I come in and I'll say, okay, well, and I would say to you, so are you going to diagnose me and tell me like if I have a heart problem or...
No, so I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm not a counselor. I am not a doctor. But if you are struggling with the overload of information and misinformation on what diet to lose the last 10 pounds, or how should I move, or how do I get rid of sugar in my life, and how do I cook vegetarian meals, and how do I take care of myself when my life is so stressed? I mean, those are the things that I can help you with and set you down a path that will become a building block to larger life-changing habits and lifestyles that will help you get rid of the dieting mentality, which is the number one thing. We have got to get rid of the dieting mentality and just learn how to honor our bodies, honor our spirits, and I lost that last one. Sorry.
That's okay.
There's one
Body
more thing.
And spirit will work.
Absolutely.
Well, now, and I'm gonna kind of bring this back around to the foundation of why you're doing it, though, because you could do that as just a nutrition coach.
I can, yes.
So what we're talking about, though, on May 7th is you're going to get to some underlying reasons of why these blocks exist in people's journey.
Right.
So I come to you and I say, what do you do? And you say, you know what? I'm going to help you figure out what's blocking you from your greatest health and wellness journey. And so I fill out my little piece of paper and I give it to you, and you take a look at this, and you're going to go off your hunchy gut. And you're going to say, I'm looking at this in the piece of paper, and gang, usually sometimes what people tell you is not actually their question.
Right.
And so it's like, I got diabetes and I've got autoimmune and I've got this thing. And then Rebecca Douglas, you're going to get pinged with, oh my God, your marriage is tanking.
It's for some people I may.
Right.
Yes. And depending on the person and their energy and how I'm feeling with them, I may or may not say that. So, I mean, it's completely different for each person.
True. Yet if that's your ping.
If that's my ping, then I may gently ask them, how is their relationship? And, and that will start the conversation. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about how, they haven't had sex in 6 months, and my husband doesn't really support me in getting healthy because he's afraid I'm going to lose my boobs. And I mean, these are conversations I've had with people.
You've had a conversation where somebody's husband did not want them to lose weight because they'd lose their boobs.
100%. Oh, yeah. Men are stupid. I'm sorry, guys out there, but there are some really, really dumb men out there.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have offered to come to their house and throat punch a few men.
Oh, my God.
Because they're just, they're ridiculous.
Well, but the women have got to take their responsibility for being in that relationship. Well, it's not all the guys.
Absolutely.
They're co-creating this environment.
And some women are just flat out not going to even go there, because that's a whole nother ball game. How do I support myself? And I have kids to support, and that my husband supports me, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, no, he doesn't really, but okay.
But he does financially say, better keep your boobs there, chicken. Right. All right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
we
wild.
can go down a lot of different rabbit holes, but there's so many other things. I mean, I could ping on, you're afraid to lose weight because the budget is too tight for new clothes.
And you're going to bring it up.
Oh, hell yeah, I will. Because that's a huge fear for a lot of women who have a lot of weight they want to lose, but they won't, unconsciously, they will not allow themselves to lose the weight because they're actually fearful of having to spend the money that their husband probably controls to buy a new wardrobe.
So when you get these pings, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and I just made up you have marital problems or whatever,
well,
but I
that's
made
a big one, actually.
I'm looking ahead at your readings, to be honest with you.
Great.
But yeah, it's kind of what I do.
Hey, don't give away the ending, man. Come on.
Sorry for the spoiler. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's what's interesting about this is, gang, when we're coming out of the psychic closet, we got to get our footing. We got to figure out what's natural for us. And for you, Rebecca, it's very natural to just get right to the bottom line and say, this is what I'm doing. I mean, you're a Taurus sun, you're a Leo moon, and a Capricorn rising. So you really, you are who you are, and you say what you say, and you mean what you say. Yep. And that's why people go to you for help and advice, though, is because there's not one thing about you that is not completely true blue. Yeah. And so, gang, if you're listening at home and you're thinking, oh, God, how do I even get out there to how do I even get out there to represent myself? The most natural thing for you, Rebecca, it sounds like through this discussion and for our listeners, is that as you're in conversation with somebody or as you're reading one of these sheets that somebody fills out, you're going to get that big bright path that you talked about earlier is going to start to light up.
Yes.
And you're just going to go down that path.
Yep.
You got 10 minutes with that person.
Exactly.
And so how do you, I'm looking ahead here, how do you deal with somebody who says, how do you know that?
I just know, really. I mean, it's a lot of times I don't even know how to explain. I just know. And if someone really wants to push it, I'll be like, am I wrong? And just look them dead in the eye. And they'll be like, not really.
So would you be comfortable in answering? That's part of my empathic gift.
It's just a part of who I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell anybody out there listening who's going, oh, I don't know if I want to get out of that psychic closet quite yet. You got to know yourself. Like if I tried to be not blunt and efficient and just like, I just want to get to the point quickly. That's just who I am. I know that about myself. I am not going to waste anybody's time. I'm not going to pussyfoot around the subject. You're here because you've asked for help and I'm going to give it to you. But we're going to get to the nitty-gritty very fast. But I know that about myself. And if I didn't know, like, that is who I am as a Scot, as a Taurus, as a whatever moon rising, whatever you want to call it.
And this is my wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Then I could not do this authentically. I would be faking it, really. But I know that about me. And so the people who want to talk to me, they're going to get a very kind of blunt but loving message.
Actually, and the thing of it is, too, gang, Rebecca's talking to me right now, so she's pretty straight out in it. And she's actually...
I can be very soft and gentle and
Yes.
very loving, and I will soften the edges just a little bit, yet it's still very much to the point.
It is to the point.
Very much.
And with that in mind, so if I ask you, how do you know that about me? You're at a psychic fair. You are owning your abilities. You're trying to help other people understand their own intuitions. Because I'll tell you what, gang, the people that I've met in my lifetime who have the most weight to lose are the biggest empaths I've ever met, ever. And we protect ourselves with body weight. But that's another topic for another podcast.
We've actually done a podcast on that.
We did.
Somewhere in your archives.
Well, and we have. Well, it was also tequila and tourmaline when we were doing that radio show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So would you then be comfortable just telling the truth and saying it's my empathic ability? I'm able to ping inside of you, find these little hiccups or whatever. Wouldn't that be a more straightforward answer?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And I'll just tell people it's how I'm made up. It's my makeup. It's who I am, and it's what my natural gifts and talents do.
Okay. Yeah, you might need to get a little more to the point with two people who are going to ask you how you know that. Because they're worried about somebody gossiping, and they're worried that you found out through the gossip chain. So sometimes it's just easier to come right out and say, I'm an empath, and I can feel inside of you, and it's what's inside of you.
Let me practice. I'm an empath, an intuitive, and sometimes I just ping on the person that's sitting in front of me.
Bingo! Super easy. You just took 2 problem children off your timeline. Way to go, Rebecca.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
So... so I mean, it's so interesting because it's hard, though. It's hard, isn't it? To say, people will say to me, how do you know that? And if I'm at a bar and having a cocktail and we're shooting the breeze and something accidentally kind of comes out that's a little more knowing of this individual than it should be because I just met them 3 minutes ago, and they say, how do you know that? If I have no desire to talk to them anymore, my standard response is, I'm a professional good guesser. What do you do? And off we go. And I just leave it. But if it's somebody I'm going to talk to a little more, I'll be like, it's my day job. I actually talk to angels and dead people, and I actually look at timelines for things, and I do it for private clients, and I do it on television, and it's just what I do. Oh, I'm also a musician. Check me out on Spotify. But it's a weird thing to own that. And I've been doing this a long time. But you're going to come out of the closet on May 7th. What is your biggest fear about May 7th and coming out as the intuitive, wellness guide? What's your biggest fear?
Being in a room full of people and feeling the entire room and not being able to hone in on the individual in front of me. Because I'm used to talking with people one-on-one in a quiet space with nobody else around. And
I think you're going to do just fine because as a trainer, you used to have a room of 28 people that you were running.
Yeah. And I've got 30 minutes of high energy, and I have been able to hone in on a certain person within that 30-minute workout and kind of give them the message they need to hear in that moment, kind of thing. So I'm hoping that it'll be like my new boot camp.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think you're made for this environment because you've had 11 years practice of loud music and people going and people screaming and yelling and pushing sleds and kicking bags and all. You guys, when you work out, all of your crap emotionally hits the ethers.
It does.
So you're in this, imagine, remember Pigpen from Peanuts? Pigpen would walk around with this big smoke cloud everywhere, right? And in a gym, that's what you've got. So let's say for our folks listening and for anybody out there who's tried to bring your intuitive or psychic gifts forward, that what if I can't do it? What if it's too much I think this is going to be easy peasy for you
It might be. Yeah.
because everybody's not off-gassing their garbage in a gym.
True. Yeah. True.
At least I noticed the off-gassing of garbage in the gym. Maybe it's just me.
It's there.
I'm like,
It's
oh
there.
my God. Oh.
Yeah.
So how excited are you to really not have to hide or pretend that this knowingness that you have is something else? How excited are you to just be able to come out and go, yeah, I'm an empath. This is where I get this stuff.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, there's some trepidation there, but I'm absolutely excited about it. I would not have let you twist my arm to do this if I wasn't ready.
Yeah, that's true.
It just took me a minute.
Well, and there's integrity in that, though, Rebecca.
Yeah, I did not want to do something until I was ready because I don't want to fail my people.
Yeah. And that's an important statement. And I hope everybody hears that. You know, there's a lot of what I call the TikTok. Boy, I can't talk today, gang. TikTok mentality, where you get on TikTok, and there are actually some great readers on TikTok. However, most of them are just younger kids who want to be special. And a great way to be special is say, I'm a psychic, I'm a tarot reader, I'm an astrologer, and all these people flock to you. And some of these kids are phenomenal, don't get me wrong. Yet there's a need to be seen through being special on social media. And the reason I bring this up is because it's really watered down the integrity process of somebody coming out with these gifts. And I think there's so many people coming out right now. You know, there's a million wellness coaches, there's a million health coaches, there's intuitive coaches, and it's great. And I think there's room for everybody. Yet for you, how do you think this is going to affect your personal health coach practice?
Well, I hope it'll help grow it. I mean, if I can when I come out of this closet, which, you know, I'm sort of out, but this is the May 7th thing is kind of the official date, I guess.
I'm coming out. Ooh, gonna let you know.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. What was the question?
Sorry. All of a sudden we were in
Squirrel.
a disco and I got really excited. The question was that, well, actually I'm going to change the question a little bit because we kind of covered part of it. You're really excited to come out with this. And the integrity is there, and you're hoping it builds your practice, your health coach practice. Yet, don't you feel like it might draw the people that are more open for what you have to offer?
I hope so. I want to work with people who are ready to show up for themselves. And in fact, I only want to work with people who want to show up for themselves. And I think that's probably one of my biggest frustrations over the years is working with people wanting to help people because they've asked for that help, but they don't show up. They don't show up emotionally, physically, spiritually to help themselves. And I ain't got time for that, man.
It's hard. It's hard. And for the healers listening, for the wellness guides,
it's heartbreaking when you give everything you've got and trusting everything, the universe, to put yourself out there as whatever you want to call yourself. And then the people who want your help don't actually show up to follow through, if that makes sense.
So are you talking about, like, if I'm your client? Because, I mean, there is also letting people have their space to learn at their own.
Absolutely. And that's part of it. That is part of it. But there's got to be some effort. There has to be some effort. You can't just take the information and then never do anything with it.
Well,
is
yeah,
what I'm talking about. I mean, you
it's not
can,
going to
but
get you very far.
That's the client I don't want. I mean, I got to say it. I want the people who are going to nut up and do the dirty work.
And it takes time to do dirty work, right?
It takes a lot of time. Absolutely.
And you are somebody that it's a process, and you're somebody that can stand with them in that process.
Absolutely. And I am more than happy. I am overjoyed to stand on the cliff with you and look down that cliff and go, we're done. We're jumping. We're doing this. And if you're willing to do it, I'm doing it with you. But I need you with me. I'm not doing this by myself.
Well, and the fact is, too, gang, and this is an important thing, too, coming out of the psychic closet. And this takes time to understand. It takes years to understand, or can take 5 minutes if you're a really developed person and you weren't me. Yet, our job is to bring the information forward. All we can do is bring the information forward. And it's up to people to plug that information in. Mm-hmm. And it's no different in your arena of intuitive wellness, because you've also got years and years and years of schooling and physiology and nutrition and all kinds of actual, a lot of it is medical, and a lot of it is nutritional, and a lot of it is health and wellness related, but it is body science that you actually know, okay? And then you're bringing the intuitive aspect in to help people untangle why they're not getting more involved with their wellness journey. And that's really what your job is.
Right. Yeah, I love untying knots. And so if you bring me a knot that is you, and you are wanting to untie that and work through some of it and be willing to take 2 steps back only to take 3 steps forward, I mean, that's the process. But you got to show up and do it. I mean, and it might be a tiny little baby step, and it might be 3 giant leaps forward. It doesn't matter. It's all forward momentum and progress. It is frustrating when, you're continually, trying to help people, and they still are eating Twinkies at midnight. And they're not.
Twinkies at midnight needs to be a country song.
Well, you're the songwriter, so go for it, babe. Okay. Twinkies at midnight.
Twinkies at midnight, I'm feeling guilty. Oh, I could go and go. I won't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to stop. So the Twinkies at midnight analogy, though, I mean, that's being human, though, right?
It is being human.
So there is... And I know this about you. You are pretty hard-nosed. Yet at the same time, you do realize that nobody gets well overnight.
Absolutely
nobody's
not.
Like, yay, yes. I'm cured. My Twinkies at midnight habit are gone. Twinkies at midnight, and I'm feeling guilty. And I'm not making light of anybody who struggles with, emotional eating. I'm not.
And that's,
I'm not.
Yeah, and that's a brain chemistry issue, that it's not a willpower or lack of motivation issue, but there are ways that there are things to do to help create or to help alleviate some of the physiological stuff that is creating those cravings and that feeling of helplessness when the Twinkies are calling us at midnight. I mean, there are things we can do. I just ask that you show up for yourself. That's all I ask.
And you are there to be with the folks.
Absolutely.
And why do you want people to show up for themselves? Why? Why do you care so much? Jeez.
Oh, man.
Why do you care so much?
Because we're killing ourselves. In this country alone, I won't even go into the world, but we are killing ourselves in this country with how we, with our medical system, with our food system, with our fitness messaging, especially towards women. We are killing ourselves. And I know that there are women out there who are so hopeless and depressed and stuck and feel like there's they have no way out of this vicious cycle of what is the diet and fitness industry. And it's just a huge passion of mine to help women crawl out from under that heaviness of the diet and fitness industry. There is another answer. There is another answer, and it's not another diet. It's not a hardcore workout. It's not starving ourselves and dieting and deprivation and killing ourselves in a hardcore workout. It's not that. It's so not that. I mean, that, but nobody's talking about it. It's not the main messaging in this country, and we have to stop listening to that main message. We have to stop buying the magazines. We have to stop listening to the TV gurus. We have the answers in us already. But we've forgotten how to listen to what our bodies need.
And that's what you help people do. Mm-hmm. And you tap that intuitive and that empathic ability. Yes. Mm-hmm. And you get in there and you help hardwire people to good habits inside, and you help them find hiccups or blocks or fears. We all have fears, right?
Absolutely.
I got fears. I got fears up the wazoo. I mean, we all have fears. Every human being has fears. And we have blind spots in ourselves. And I think for you, one of your biggest aptitudes is really, I mean, it's on the nose. You are not a pussyfooting around kind of person, yet there is a compassion to which you approach
Absolutely.
people's pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to jump up and down on people's pain like a trampoline.
God,
I mean,
no.
That's the old school.
No. No, there's a lot of love, a lot of compassion, a lot of understanding and empathy for where they are right now.
And why would you happen to have all of that compassion and understanding for someone's food addictions and sugar addictions? Where would that come from?
Well, I've been there. So, and I can feel it. You know, I'm the empath. I'm the super empath. Show t-shirt.
That's true. You are the super empath.
I can feel it. You know, I can't help but feel their desperation and their hopelessness.
And you said you've been there. What does that mean?
I've felt all those things. I've never had the obesity struggles that many women have. Yet I have had physical issues where, you know, I was saying in the very beginning of this, you know, my body literally was breaking down because I had zero nutrition in me, no nutrients because of years of dieting. And that's what dieting does. It depletes you of all the critical nutrition, microphytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, all of that actually keep our systems running and healthy. And, you know, I spent years just trying to get skinny. It wasn't about being healthy. I just needed to get skinny. And I know what that desperation feels like. And looking back now, I'm looking at pictures and everything going, damn, I'd give anything to have that body back.
I know, right? Isn't that funny, you guys? When you look back on pictures and you're like, I would like to be that weight where I thought I was so fat.
Yeah.
That would be excellent.
Exactly. So, I mean, and that tells me it's not, for so many of us, it's not the size of the body, but what's inside our head, and the self-image and the stories we tell ourselves, and the traumas and the messaging we got as young women, and I mean all of that created this image I thought I looked like.
And that empathic gift helps bring those gently to the surface to be able to compare and contrast. And then I've watched you do this. That's why I'm bringing this up. I've watched you break down in people their identities and their stories versus what's actually happening versus the reality of their life. And I've watched you do it in 2 minutes. You know, I'm like, wow, well, that's quite something. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to, we call it in the spiritual community, being in witness to. And what you're really doing is being in witness to someone's pain, to their journey, to their struggles. You are being witness to their sometimes pits of deep fear that they feel they can't get out of. And this comes from a personal background of struggle with body issues, with body identity, just as far as like, am I heavy, am I skinny, all the crap we came away with if you went to high school in the 80s. And also sugar. Let's talk about sugar real quick because, you know, let's talk about...
We don't have enough time to talk about sugar.
Well, I know this, but the reason I'm saying that is, and not a big expose on sugar, but how about the addiction to it? Because you know a little something about that.
I'm hands down the number one sugar addict in the world. I'm pretty sure I am.
But how do you handle it?
That's been a journey in of itself. It took me years to get a handle on the controlling monster that is sugar. I don't feel, you know, and just years of learning a lot of my certifications and everything. I picked stuff that I picked the education that would actually target or focus on, I guess, sugar addictions and learning where all that comes from. And It comes from the last 50 plus years of our food industry and what they've purposely done to us.
And with the knowledge of being a person who actively keeps at bay a sugar addiction, you also know the emotional component to that,
100%.
which is massive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's massive.
It's huge.
So I'm going to sit down in front of you, and I got 10 minutes with you on May 7th, and I'm looking at Intuitive Wellness Guide, and I write down, boom, 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 here's my issues, here's what I've got, and you're looking at that handwriting, and by the way, gang, everything we ever think, feel, or we're going to do, or did, actually comes out in our handwriting, by the way, Rebecca. So, you're going to read all this energy off of there, and what do you do if all of a sudden you realize I got 10 minutes with this person and oh my goodness, I am pinging major sugar and I'm pinging underneath the sugar. The sugar is here to self-medicate anxiety, sadness, a host of other things, right? Trauma, boom. How do you deal with that?
Oh, well, I start with the heaviest ping. So maybe it's anxiety. So if it's anxiety, then I start talking about, I start asking questions, really. It's going to just be a lot of questioning. I'd probably start with the tangible. How are they eating? Because a lot of anxiety is actually triggered by dieting or lack of eating or not getting the nutrition the body needs. And so I would start there. And then, which again is going to trigger sugar addictions. And sugar isn't just white table sugar. It is processed foods. That's all under the same umbrella. And then it just goes from there and just question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And then all of a sudden we're getting into the meat of something.
And the cool thing about you is you get to the meat of things pretty quickly, sister. It is part of your gift.
Yeah.
So just in the last few minutes that we have, first of all, I want to thank you for being on here and talking about some kind of exposing things with people. Yet, how do you feel now at the end of this podcast than you did at the beginning of it about owning your abilities and going into May 7th?
Let's do it, man.
Okay, that's awesome.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty magnificent. And Rebecca, as an intuitive wellness guide, because you also have health and wellness clients, really wonderful clients, how do people get a hold of you?
Through Facebook, Instagram, phone number, email, website.
Which would be?
All of it. Okay, so website is kinesicoachingstudios.com. Let's see, email is going to be hello@kinesiinfo.com, and that's KINESI info.com. That's probably the two easiest ways. And you can always find Rebecca Douglas on Facebook and Instagram. Actually, I apologize. Instagram is Kinesi Coaching Studios. Facebook is Rebecca Douglas.
That's right.
Yeah.
And do you have any phone numbers that are related to any of those services, or can folks find that online? Or?
Yep. It's 406-850-8459.
Excellent. And I can tell you that through this particular podcast, I hope that folks who are listening and who are going to go out there in your own lives, own your gifts, folks. Okay? Let people understand the fullness of you. It does nobody any good, including your own integrity, if somebody at point blank asks you, how do you know that? Tell them the truth. Because we're here to evolve the world. And I'm not suggesting if you're a Wall Street banker and you have like crazy instincts about the trades you're doing or something, you don't have to walk out there and say, hello, I'm the psychic Wall Street banker. I mean, you don't need to make that much of a pageant out of it. Yet own your gifts. Be okay with the fact that, yes, indeed, you may have some extra GPS. And you know what? You're supposed to have that extra GPS. That's what it's there for. Rebecca, I've been on you since I met you. To come out of the closet, I'm like, my God, you're a giant empath. You really need to let people know that you're reading them, right? This is kind of important. And you're like, what? And 8 years later, here you are. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing that you're going to come forward and let people know that you have a fullness to your gift set. And this is the thing, gang. We don't understand because we come with these gifts. I just was born hearing angels and translating all this energy and all these things. We don't understand how that may be seen as value by somebody else, as valuable. We think it might be silly, or it might not be as prestigious as a degree, or all these things. Yet in Congress, with our other achievements, our other certifications, our other degrees, our own gifts and talents are really, gang, what we're actually built on. Okay, we put those degrees on top of our innate gifts. We place those talents on top of what we're already good at. So to pretend the foundation of what you are doesn't exist, to showcase the degree, which, I mean, showcase your degree, man, don't get me wrong. Yet it really does kind of just spit right in the eyeball of the universe that gave you all these gifts in the first place that we then expanded upon. So just keep that in mind. And Rebecca, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, this has been great. Thanks.
You're welcome. And I'm going to have you on after May 7th to hear all about the transformation. So folks who are thinking about bringing their skill sets, their gifts, their psychic talents out to the world, you can come back and report how'd it go, how'd it feel, to bust the doors off. And I'll tell you, my cousin Jeremy premiered himself at the last Spirit Fair we had. Jeremy Kachardi. He's an amazing past life reader. That guy is, the psychic thing just runs in our family. And Jeremy he was booked from 10 a.m. all the way through till we were done at 5 p.m. I mean, he was booked straight through. So, God, you know what's going through my head right now?
What's that?
Twinkies at midnight, and I would feel guilty because I would eat quinoa, but I would feel silly. I got to finish this song, man. Stupid. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Rebecca, thanks again.
Thank you.
And I will see you all next podcast.